Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches,
urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.
The future. So cool, right? All of those amazing new innovations that are going to make life even better? Like, okay, wouldn't it be great if your car could change color to match your mood? Oh, wait, no, to match your outfit. Ooh, I think I would like that. Buick is thinking about the future every day. A future built around you with super smart Buick EVs that can make your life even better. And soothing spa-like interiors that can leave you feeling relaxed and refreshed. Wait, is that eucalyptus? Oh, believe me, the future smells incredible. And it's all out there waiting. So let's go to the future together. Want to go? Join us at Buick.com/future.
Stand by. The vacuum tubes are warming up. This is a special live broadcast right here on Georgia Radio.
Good evening, everybody. This is Wade with Matt Jolly, and I here for the Georgia Folk and Farm Life Radio Show on GeorgiaRadio.com here. And Matt, good to be with you this afternoon.
It's good to be with you, and we were all about 30 seconds late because apparently I mashed the wrong button, but I think
mashed the wrong button.
We're up and running now.
The old pro himself, old pro, he's an old timer. He hit the wrong.
I hit the wrong button.
That bony finger on the wrong button.
That's right. You have a great guest tonight, by the way. Can I just say that?
Yes, you may.
She can hear you too. So
okay, can you hear us?
And we can hear her.
Yes, I can.
I am glad. Now, y'all, I may have to use. We have on this our professional radio equipment here at my house. I have a cough button or a sneeze button, it's called, and I may have to use it. I've just getting over the COVID, as many of you know, and I may have to cough. But the only thing about this real radio announcer cough, it doesn't have a light to tell you when it's on and off.
Yeah.
And you just have to remember when you mash it that you mashed it, and you have to unmash it.
We do it. Only the best for you, Brother Wade.
Yes. So I'm always thinking I'm sitting here, I'm regaling people with a sneeze or a cough, or either I'm just talking in dead air, one or the other. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So tonight, speaking of guests, guess who? Y'all have to guess who we have. And guess, okay, never mind. I'll tell y'all. Since y'all couldn't guess, you can hear her. Fay Stapleton Burnett.
You also mentioned it on Georgia Folk and Farm Life, by the way, which has a larger readership than the AJC. So the odds are they know they know who's on tonight. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah, if you mention it on Georgia Folk and Farm Life, there's a few people will know.
Yeah, they know.
Well, and Fay, one thing I want to most people know who you are. You and I went to school together, and you're one of the reasons that Georgia Folk and Farm Life on Facebook got started. You prodded me years ago to in that direction to start a group, and you and Randy Olive, and I appreciate that. And we've had you as a guest on the show before, and it was a great show. And we want to come back tonight. But one thing I want to mention is you're from Metter. And
right.
Brock, your husband Brock, the Reverend Brock Burnett, he's from up around, well, I know y'all live around Winder. Where was Brock from?
West Virginia.
That's what I thought, West Virginia.
Yeah.
West by God, Virginia, as they say. Yes.
Yeah. We're still debating about whether he was on the right side of the late unpleasantness, but I'm gonna give him a pass.
Yeah, give him a pass. Y'all don't get into that. Yeah.
No, we're not going to.
Well,
that's right.
Well, yeah, West Virginia came into being as it seceded from Virginia when Virginia seceded, but we won't go into that. So okay.
No.
And your family has been in Metter and then up around Stapleton, Georgia, and such a stalwart old Georgia family that when y'all come down to your farm in Metter, you joked before about Brock being the Reverend Stapleton.
That's right. Yeah.
And it actually happened this week. Tell us just briefly. I love that happened, that occurrence this week. So tell us about that.
Yeah, Brock, when he's around with me, he teases that he's Mr. Fay Burnett. But this weekend we were at Harts Grove Missionary Baptist Church in Stapleton. We were invited to MC their worship service for pastor appreciation, and there was a little snafu, a little hiccup in the bulletin, and he was listed as Reverend Brock Stapleton. So he finally made it into the clan. I had to become a Burnett. Yeah, I had to become a Burnett 40 years ago. So I guess he can be a Stapleton for the next 40 years. I don't know. But anyway, yeah.
Those that don't know, you had practiced dentistry, and Brock is retired. You've retired from that, and he's retired from the ministry. And so y'all come to Metter to your farm part of the time. But you wrote a book, The Hanging of Susan Eberhardt, and a couple other books that you have. Doing research is kind of your passion, is old Georgia newspapers, and that's basically what we're going to talk about tonight. With you, you could talk about so many things, but you said that's what you want to talk about tonight. Now, you have sent me over the last few years so many interesting articles that just fascinate me. You ferret out the most interesting things in our state's history in old newspapers that I never knew would be, and I wouldn't know if it wasn't for you. And I have been astounded at some of the things I have read. So talk to us about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was just going to briefly tell people, when I retired in 2016, I didn't know what I was going to do, except one thing I wanted to accomplish in retirement was to transcribe my great-granddaddy's journal or diary from the 1885 to 1888. And when I started that process, somehow, when I got online, I discovered that you could access databases that have historic newspapers online. And I'm sure many of your viewers already know this, but for those who don't, there's been movement on in the last, 20 years or however long it's been going on to digitize these old newspapers so you can do a word search. And what that means, that is, in my opinion, the most revolutionary thing that's happened in a long time for anyone that wants to research genealogy or anything to do with history. Because 50 years ago, you'd literally have to go to every courthouse in the state of Georgia and pull up a dusty pile of newspapers and just start reading. They had things on microfilm at the libraries, but you still had
that
to
was
sit
tedious. There. That was tedious. I've done that, Faye. I've gone on the old cart machines in the 70s and 80s where you just sit there and run through the microfilm on those real things, and it's wearying at best.
Your neck and your eyes, you're literally scrolling through the newspapers. But now, for people that don't know, you can put in a search word or a phrase or whatever and put in various filters, and it will, within a few seconds, pop up and tell you what you're looking for, because they've digitized this. But what I wanted to specifically speak to tonight is for any of your listeners, I'm going to put a link. I'll put a link on the Georgia Folk and Farm Life Facebook page, specifically for 2 databases that are free to the public. Now, there's other databases that you have to subscribe to, but these are free. For everybody in Georgia, The University of Georgia has one that I go to like literally almost every day to look up something. And it has really revolutionized research, and it has brought me an immense amount of pleasure. Now, Wade, I don't have to tell you that I'm a history buff or a nut, whatever you want to call me.
Right.
And I say that history is like golf, or it's like liver and onions. You either love it or you hate it. I love it. Nothing gets my adrenaline and my endorphins going like somebody that wants to talk about history. But I have to say, Wade, I'm a snob. I don't really want to hear about the history of a sawmill in Arkansas or something. I don't want to hear about it. I don't care.
Right.
My ancestors, as you know, Wade, for 200 years have lived in 8 counties in East Georgia. So we're talking Effingham, Bullock, Candler, Emanuel, Jefferson, Burke, Warren, and Tolliver. And that's it.
Right. And mine are very similar to the same area, yes.
Yeah. And I'm not that unusual because those were the counties that were established early on. You know, I'm talking right after the American Revolution. People weren't down in southwest Georgia in the 1700s because there were so many Indians, they'd kill them all. So it's just, that's where they were, and we were all Baptists. And so that's my focus is, I would say, primarily my Stapleton line from 1800 to 1900 in Jefferson County. That's what I really like to research. But anyway, the University of Georgia, I'll give people that link. But what I'd encourage people to do is when you go into that, these newspapers, they keep adding newspapers all the time as grant money becomes available. So if you didn't find your granddaddy's obituary last year, you may find it this year. And I'd also encourage people when they start researching to broaden their time horizon and broaden their geographic area they're researching. And the reason I say that is if your great-great-granddaddy did something in 1850, they may 30 years later in 1880, even though he's been dead 30 years, they may say, 30 years ago, old Mr. Wade Peebles did so-and-so, So you'll find these articles that will pop up in times you don't expect. And they'd also pick up articles, and they would share them. Newspapers like in Illinois or New Jersey would pick up a little funny article. So you may find your granddaddy from Georgia did something humorous, and you may find it in another state.
Well, Fay, that makes me think when what little research I've done, and like I say, was on the microfilm on the Forest Blade is yet to be digitized. Those records have not been digitized, have they? That's
right, and I'll speak to that too. You want me to speak to that now?
Well, we're coming up on a break in a little bit. We've got time to talk about that now. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I was going to say, when you go to the University of Georgia's database, they have it broken down into regions and counties. And if you click on Emanuel County, the Forest Blade has not been digitized. And I called the library at the University of Georgia to find out how much it would cost. They've already got it on microfilm, and it was several thousands of dollars. So anybody that's got a friend that's wealthy or a civic club or a society that says, hey, we want to get the Forest Blade digitized, then you just got to give them the money. Because otherwise you get in line, and when they have grant money show up, that it'll happen maybe.
We might make that a local cause, and we might get behind that. We'll find out exactly how much it had, an exact amount, and maybe we can be a part of making that happen.
I had a question for you, Faye. Are they digitizing these off of microfilm, or are they digitizing them?
Yes, I think they had to be on the microfilm. But if you have, for instance, it pulls up individual pages. It'll pull up one page, the word highlighted. So if I was looking for your ancestor that was named Fred Jolly or whatever, and I put in that search, it will within a few seconds pop up every page of newspaper that has his name, and it'll be highlighted in pink. And you can enlarge it and read about it.
That's
and there's
incredible.
several. It is beyond unbelievable. And there's 3 different ways in the Georgia database. It's either by relevance, oldest date first, or newest date first. So, that's how relevance means if your great-granddaddy Jolly was in there like 12 times in the big print, that will be a more relevant article, so it'll appear first. Or you can go back in history. And I will tell you, though, uncommon names are your friend if you're going to try to research your family. Because if your last name was White or Green or Black, you see what I'm saying? Every time the word, like if they said that there's black pants on sale, it'll pull up that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the reason I've been successful in my research, honestly, is because Stapleton's an unusual name. The only spelling variation, and you also do need to account for spelling variations. Go back and put in another search if you think there might be a spelling variation, because it won't pull it up. But if you have a limited number of spelling variations in an unusual name, you will not believe what you can find. But
that bloodline of your family, Wade, the Nebuchadnezzars, ought to be pretty easy to find.
Yeah. I could spell it.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, Wade. Oh, I'm sorry. The only thing that pulled up in Emmanuel County, since I knew I was going to be on here tonight, they had one page of the Stillmore Times, only one page from 1898. And there was no local news on the front page, which is not unusual for these old newspapers.
Old newspapers had a lot of filler from around the country and around the world. They was a lot of this same stuff got reprinted 1 million times over, and 1 million little papers all over the United States were full of well, it was just fluff and filler from all over. But listen, hey, Fay, we're time here at the at halftime. We want to go to a break, and so hang on.
Okay.
Break time.
Break time.
Break time. Hi, this is Wade Peebles from Georgia Folk and Farm Life Radio. I'm here to tell you about Meeks Brothers Cattle Company. And you don't have to worry about supply chain issues or where your beef comes from. Do what I do and call Meeks Brothers Cattle Company today. You can get a whole, half, a quarter, any amount of beef you want. Good quality beef, vacuum packed, lasts up to 3 years in your freezer. It's grass-fed, grain-finished, made to order. Visit Meeks Brothers Cattle Company on Facebook today and tell them Brother Wade sent you. And that's Meeks Brothers Cattle Company. Thank you.
Hello, darling.
All the best country.
Georgia Radio. Everywhere you go.
Here we are. Listen, y'all know the Hootie Hoo. You remember that from Gomer on Andy Griffith's. And I'll call my ex-wife Judy once in a while I call her we talk every day. And sometimes when she answers, I'll just say Hootie Hoo, Hootie Hoo, and it cracks her up because it's just funny. So
your wife? I thought Judy was known as your wife.
Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches,
urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.
Your plans? Today it's dinner with the parents at your spot.
We gotta come back here.
Now, their spot. Or you're on the edge of your seat at the game.
Come on, just one time.
And it's the one. Or maybe you're catching the next flight to...
Now boarding flight 1850.
Oh, that's you. The choice is yours. And when you're with Amex, it's not if it's going to happen, but when. American Express. Don't live life without it.
Emeritus.
Wife emeritus, yes, that's what it is. Yeah, you know, Matt. Fay, I will rob some of your time here just for a second, but some people don't know me. They wonder, is Wade married? And some of these women on here, they'll ask me questions about Conway, trying to find out if I'm married or not. And I'm not know if they're interested or anything, but I doubt it because I've seen my picture. But anyway,
they're just curious. They're curious.
One the other day, she says very slyly, she says, "Does your wife love Conway like you do?" And I'm being cryptic. I replied, "I would not have a wife who didn't love Conway like I do."
Well, if you'd like to go on a date with Brother Wade Peebles.
Oh my God!
All you have to do is ask the Irish folks over there.
The Irish gypsies there. Or Conway. Go through them.
They know exactly where Wade lives.
They know where I forget. Yeah. All right. Well, enough frivolity here. Faye, the show's just been passing by fast tonight, very quickly, because we're having a good time talking about one of your subjects is near and dear to your heart. The looking up. Yeah. History, your family history, your local history. So it's not just family, local history. Some people might not want to. They might want to look up a lot of anything of interest to their area, their geographic area, and that works the same way with search terms, right?
Yeah, you don't have, like Matt was just asking me about the Opera House in Griffin.
Yeah, the Griffin Opera House.
That's right. You can put in something like that, and it has a word proximity search. There's one a way you do that. You kind of have to learn how to play and manipulate it. I'll have to tell you that, because sometimes it just depends on how you put it in, or you may put in, you may limit it to Griffin and put in opera, and just see what pops up. But I did want to mention the University of Georgia one is my primary source, but the Library of Congress has another free one, and it is broken down by the state. But there again, don't be surprised, because I found an article about my great-granddaddy in Stapleton, Georgia, that was they borrowed it and published this little humorous thing in Iowa or somewhere. I mean, it'll pop up. It's just kind of crazy. And the reason I say that is, for instance, maybe your ancestor was mentioned in a newspaper that had been burned or destroyed, and that it didn't appear, but it may have appeared in the next county over's newspaper, like for an obituary. So, but I was going to tell you, Wade, about the one from Stillmore. You may be interested in this. The railroads that were listed on the front page, the schedule.
Right. Oh,
because Wade and I went to school in Stillmore, so we kind of like that, the topic.
Right, and you had 5 railroads there, yeah.
Yeah, in 1898, it was the Wrightsville and Pennell Railroad, the Stillmore Airline Railway, which I love that name, the Darien and Western Railroad, the Wadley and Mount Vernon Railroad, which actually went through Stapleton, Georgia, along with, in Stapleton, the Augusta Gibson Sandersville Narrow Gauge Railroad. I could do a whole show on railroads, but I'm not going there. Right. But anyway,
Stillmore was the Mr. Brinson that owned the Brinson roads. Yeah. The Brinson railroads were very large. It became the core of what was the central of Georgia, and Mr. Brinson lived there and was from Stillmore, and that's why the railroads were there.
That's right. But now the Brinsons, anybody that's doing genealogical research, first came to Burke County. So if you've got Brinson lines, you need to go on back to Burke County. I think there were 3 brothers that came down from, I believe, North Carolina or somewhere, and they said it wasn't big enough for all 3 of them, so, started branching out. But I just wanted to mention, too, how people, how you can find current people, and I'm going to try to make this quick because I know we're running out of time, but I've been able, from an event, let's just say like the murder I wrote about in 1885 in Jefferson County. I wanted to find out if there were any descendants of the people that were involved with that trial and case. So you go to the old newspapers, then you go to Ancestry.com and look for those people, and it will take you down to the last, the person before the living people. In other words, Ancestry.com does not list living people. So, for instance, maybe their grandson died. Then I go to the current newspapers and pull up his obituary that lists, surviving children. Then I go to Facebook, and I will tell you, and you know this, Wade, I found the great-grandchildren of all the people involved in these murders in the 1800s by using that method.
That's incredible.
It truly is. I'm Facebook friends with the great-grandchildren of the woman who confessed to the murder, her brother who committed the murder, and the murder victim. And I know all these people. Yeah, I have tracked down numerous people that way, and it's amazing that they will talk to you on Facebook, and they will. Most of the time.
That reminds me of some people may not know that you mentioned that Ancestry.com doesn't have living people. And a lot of people may not be aware that if you're doing genealogy and historical research, that the U.S. Census is held back 70 years. Isn't that correct? 70 years?
The census goes all the way back to like 1810 or something.
No, what I'm saying is the government doesn't release census data until at 70 years is the most recent census data that you could get completely, all the names and everything. So right now, the most recent census data that would be available to the average researcher would be 70 years ago. So.
Yeah,
that's to protect the living people. That's to protect people so that their personal information doesn't get out there. So that's one reason it's hard to find a lot of information on. You can find old information, but more recent stuff sometimes it's hard. Matt, did you have something?
I had a question for Fay. Okay. She mentioned that there were some pay sites. And I just wanted to be clear. What's the advantage? I'm guessing the pay sites are more for genealogy and name searches, but what's the advantage?
Some of the pay sites have editions of newspapers that are not on other places. Excuse me. So, like if you're wanting to really do a thorough search, like when I was writing my book, I wanted to find everything. So I went ahead and paid and subscribed to some others because if they have newspapers that are not included in the other database, you'll find stuff. But for your average person, I'd say for your average person in Georgia, the University of Georgia database is your number one stop. And you're going to find, and they're adding topics all the time. But I do subscribe to some others. And like the Atlanta Journal and Constitution, the only way you either pay to subscribe or you drive to the University of Georgia and go in the library and you can sit there for free and do it through their database. And I've done that too. But it is amazing. Like I said, Matt Jolly, look, when this program's over, within about a half an hour, I'm going to send you what you want on the Griffin Opera House.
That's incredible. I was just curious. I was in there today, and there were some names on the wall.
Yeah, we might have some news in the future about the Griffin Opera. That's why you were there today. There might be some news in the future.
I've just got to figure out how to get Brother Wade up to Griffin.
The only reason I wouldn't is if the newspaper from Griffin has not been digitized. And if it didn't carry it in some other place, but people's minds just explode when you explain to them what they can find. And
I want to make that link available. We're going to make it on Georgia Folk and Farm Life, and then we'll make it also available in the show story for those of you that are listening to the podcast.
But other states do it as well. I don't mean to imply like if your ancestors were in Texas or South Carolina or wherever, they have their own state sponsored website.
I've got a great grandmother that was born in Georgia, and I've never been able to find the county where she was born, which is interesting.
Send me what you got, Wade. Matt, and I'll try to get it for you.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I gotta find my.
Figured it out.
I'm looking at Wade because Wade and I have a camera where we can see each other.
She'll find out exactly what prison your grandmother was in.
That's right. where she lived and for her hard labor camp. Yeah. No, but I'm watching the camera right now, and Faye, I wish everybody could see it because all I can see every once in a while are two little ears sticking up by Wade and his wife that are sitting there. Yeah. Two little ears of Conway sitting there. Yeah. They're just sitting there.
But we're probably fixing to be over. I wanted to mention one more thing, that just how amazing technology is. the story I wrote about was the hanging. There was an article in a newspaper in 1873, and they misspelled a word and printed a word that is not a word. It's called lavavord, Lavavord. And the reason that's significant, that is the only time on the history of planet Earth that non-existent word has ever been in a newspaper. And if you go to Google and put in a search for that word, it will pull up that newspaper where that word is.
Wow.
So, the implication is that you, Matt Jolly, you could create a non-existent word, implant it in an article in the newspaper, and if anybody in the future does a word search for that word that's not a word, it'll pull up your article. Now, you tell me that's not amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. We're gonna have it's the 1880s
Custom
version.
Misinformation. Yes, historical misinformation.
Well, it's the 1880s version of an Easter egg or a hashtag. I mean, they inadvertently did this, and maybe it was written by a time traveler, Faye. Maybe that's the whole.
I don't know.
Yeah, that could be.
But it pulls up the picture of Susan Eberhardt and the front page of the Atlanta Daily Sun. And I just challenge people, go to Google. You have to go to Google because that's where it's linked. And put in Lavavored, and I'll put this on Georgia, and it'll pull up the article of that woman that was hanged. I mean, it's just crazy.
Write the word down on, put it on
I
Georgia.
will.
Matt, we're getting close to the end here, aren't we?
We got about 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay.
You and Faye
Faye, we're not
about
going
anything.
It's always. I was looking forward to tonight's show, having you on, and it's just always a blast. We could have you on every week and never run out of anything to talk about with you.
I started to say Faye needs her own. We still need her own show. Like
we talked about that
the
in
History
the past,
Hunters or something.
She really does. You need to get with Faye on that and make that happen. Faye could. She's got such voluminous.
I think what people should do is they should write in, and then Faye
I
can.
can't say the word. There's that other word. Yeah, you're full of it. You are, because you do. You have an abundance of life experience and knowledge, and it's amazing to me. You amazed me back in school, but man, you kind of added to your database from 1976 till today. You filled it out quite well.
I think it'd be fun to have Faye on, though, and have people write in, and then she picks the topic and kind of dives into it. And then we have the person who wrote in as a guest.
There you go.
That'd be really fun.
That would be a good idea, yes.
Yeah, and I'm gonna shut up, Wade, but I'm going to tell you, in my research of the old newspapers, and Wade knows the answer to this, but before Candler County was formed, 14 or something like that, there was a competition, and Stillmore wanted to be the county seat and have a new county created over there out of Emanuel and other surrounding counties' book. Do you remember what the name of that county was proposed to be that never came to pass?
Stonewall Jackson County.
Stonewall. It was just Stonewall is what they said. But yeah. And so, I want to write. I'm going to write an article when I get time for the Georgia Backroads about counties that were proposed that never came to pass. And Fillmore, Georgia could have been the county seat of Stonewall County if they'd gotten their way in the Georgia legislature, but they didn't. Instead, we're sitting here in Metter, Georgia.
Georgia is second to Texas on the number of counties, and making new counties got to be big business in the late 1800s, early 1900s, because there was money to be made every time a new county was formed. Locals got more power and position, and so it got kind of carried away, and they kind of had to bring it to a halt because, 149 counties is, I believe, is what we have, and that's a lot for one state.
I'm still upset that the Twin City lost out because we still have not had the mayor of Twin City on.
We're going to have him on.
We got to have him on. Our favorite city to talk about on this show.
Well, I love Twin City. Yes,
Twin City. Two for the price of one.
Summit and Graymont. Yeah,
Summit and Graymont. For the price of one.
Of course, the counties back historically, they kept dividing them because it would take literally like 5 hours to ride on horseback from the far end of the county down to the county seat, which means if you had to be in court at 8 o'clock, you'd have to go the night before and stay in a motel. So it was a big problem there was legitimate reasons back when it was horse meat,
but there was a
buggy
lot of
days.
illegitimate reasons too. It was power plays is what.
Wade, in case everybody doesn't know out there in politics and government, there's the reason, and then there's the real reason for a lot of things.
The real reason, that's right.
Yeah. The real reason usually involves money.
The real reason is doesn't make the paper usually. All right,
That's
here
right.
we go. Hey, Faye, thank you so much for being on. We'll have you on again, and
You're
Matt,
much
we'll
welcome.
talk to you about your own show. You need it and deserve it, and we love you and we appreciate you so much. Thank you, Faye, for being
Thanks,
on tonight.
Faye.
Bye, gentlemen. I enjoyed it.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Wow, I learned a lot today, Wade.
Yeah, I tell you, Faye's always a font of information. No matter what topic you get on with Faye, she amazes me. She knows what she's talking about. Whatever it is she's talking about, she knows what she's talking about. Faye won't talk about it unless she knows what she's talking about, and she'll talk about anything because she knows about it so much.
Well, until next time, good night, Wade. You gotta wake up in the.
Yes, I got to go. You
got to go.
Some of us have to work for a living.
That's right.
But yeah, it's been hey, thank y'all. Thank you, Meeks Brothers Cattle Company. Thank you, Georgia Radio. Listen to us on podcast. Listen to the music all the time on Georgia Radio.
There you go.
Hey, join us on Facebook. See you there.
Good night, Conway.
All the best country.
Georgia Radio. Everywhere you go.
Tired of long waits and rushed care at the ER and urgent care clinic? Next time, stay home and let Dispatch Health bring the power of the hospital to you.
I call Dispatch Health. A care team of medical professionals actually come to your house.
They're the same caliber of people that you would see if you were at a hospital or an urgent care.
Dispatch Health can treat most non-life-threatening emergencies.
They can do the x-rays, they can do stitches,
Urinary tract infections, blood test, urinalysis, ultrasound.
It's almost everything that they can do at the ER.
You never feel rushed. They're there for you and only you.
I felt like their only patient.
And it costs no more than a trip to urgent care because Dispatch Health is covered by most insurance, including Medicare. See if we serve your home at dispatchhealth.com.
Dispatch Health really went above and beyond.
It's wonderful to have care come to your home.
House calls are back, and they're better than ever. Learn more at dispatchhealth.com.
The future. So cool, right? All of those amazing new innovations that are going to make life even better. Like, okay, wouldn't it be great if your car could change color to match your mood? Oh, wait, no, to match your outfit. Ooh, I think I would like that. Buick is thinking about the future every day. A future built around you with super smart Buick EVs that can make your life even better. And soothing spa-like interiors that can leave you feeling relaxed and refreshed. Wait, is that eucalyptus? Oh, believe me, the future smells incredible. And it's all out there waiting. So let's go to the future together. Want to go? Join us at Buick.com/future.